variation of heads, or what did you call it? Let's have a look at it first. I think it is the variation of appropriation. Yes. And then there's a fourth one, which is a new supplementation of the amount to the tune of some 16 million. So when you put all together, there is a new asking of 16 million. Now, the one that we got caught up with is the variation. So our understanding about the variation is that you are actually moving provisions from one head to the other. The effect of it is that some heads that got reduced, others got supplemented from their original appropriated amount. So when we look through this, that some clarity ought to be obtained from you because of the restrictions in Section 53 of the Public Finance Management Act. On that part that deals with variation of appropriation. I think it is Division 3, commencing from Section 52 onwards, I think, or 53. And it defines what are the actions that will give rise to a variation of an appropriation, which is wirement. And the meaning of wirement, where you actually wide from within a head or from a subhead to another subhead from within a head. And just for some of us that have some memory of the previous regulations and laws that apply in the actual operation of the Appropriation Act, we thought that was what is intended in that particular provision. But you cannot wire from a head to another head, because it has the effect of reducing the other, not supplementing in a supplementary bill. So you're actually supplementing another, but you're reducing the other head. So what it says in the law, you cannot find in the Constitution that you can actually reduce the appropriation. You can only supplement. 1 or 2 of the Constitution is very clear on that, even the PFMA. So it's the makeup of this budget that we are, or the document that is now being Parliament, this bill called the supplementary. So what is your understanding? I mean, if you are the one taking control of the leadership of the making up of this bill, what's the legal position and the rationales behind this? Did you see the effect of it in that way, or is there any other view that you may hold that you think it is lawfully correct to do it in that way? Can I put that to you?
Yeah.
And then you explain to us, because we haven't actually started this, just an informal session, so that we can get this clear. And we want to be clear in our mind about it also.
Okay.
We have some members of the team here. Or let me introduce the members of the team first. I'm sorry about that, but I thought that I will do that before we... Huh? It's an informal one, so you can actually see these faces, and then you can relate to your own self, where you may have cited their face or something like that, and then some memory will come out from. We have former Premier of Western Province here, who is also exposed to the same treatment of what is being appropriated in the provincial accounts. The general rule is that you cannot wire from one head to another head. You can actually do virement within a head. Yeah. So, and that's what we thought the meaning of what is in Division 3 of the PFMA.
So,
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please.
okay, thank you, Chairman. So I think you raise an important point for clarification before we proceed. So, you're right. The third proposal that comes for the supplementary is the additional pressures for supplementary expenditures, which is around 93,395,518. And that is made up of the 77,395,518 that is comes under proposed variation from existing appropriation within different heads. And the other one is 16 million, as you mentioned. It's a new funding for appropriation to cater for the additional pressure of 93 million, as I mentioned earlier on. So you're exactly right, Mr. Chairman, in terms of the definition and interpretation of variation within head is provided for under the PFM Act. That can be done for the same purpose within the ministry, but for different head and different purpose, that cannot be done as prescribed under the PFM Act, but can only be done through appropriation of Parliament that can do the variation. So that is why the proposal comes before the supplementation under this bill. But maybe AG can also, possible for budget department can provide additional clarification on that interpretation.
Thank you, PS. And that is exactly the point of concern that we are raising with you. And that is that it has the effect of reducing another head. So why do you call it a supplementation? Yes, Accountant General.
Thank you,
Supplementation.
Honorable Chairman. First, just in relation to the environment, yes, I think you agree on that it is intended for variations within an expenditure head. And the Act provides for that under the relevant section. Now, our reading, and as far as I understand, we have been interpreting the Act. The supplementary element of the appropriation is at the head level. Any additional appropriation to what has already been appropriated by Parliament in the annual budget will require a supplement appropriation. And I think that stands as far as supplementary appropriation in this aspect is concerned. Now, your point on the powers of the minister or cabinet or parliament to hold back on other. So I guess the supplementary element is at the head level only. And I guess your standpoint is coming from the aggregate level where you could extend that interpretation to mean the government is an entity in itself. So there is a offsetting in total, which is technically like a environment at the head level. But I think as far as we understand, and the practice has always been, the supplementary element is always at the head level. The prerogative to withhold appropriations or the offsetting, I guess that's something for further debate, perhaps. But as you would have known, Honorable Chairman, we have done that effectively through the provision of the reservations that the Minister has powers on. And that could be done, perhaps, if need be, but I guess I defer to the legal opinion on this, if necessary, to go about it that way. But I suppose from the ministry point of view and from the fiscal policy standpoint, the issue of financial exigencies is paramount here. So the minister and the ministry will go to all extent to examine what authorities it has to exercise that authority to be able to address the financial exigency or the situation at hand, which is really what is driving this policy from the ministry. The need to stabilize government finances and rein in expenditure outflows within our revenue inflows, and perhaps as the budget framework has been designed to leave the development side of the budget to be funded by external and domestic sources outside normal government revenue. So maybe, Honorable Chairman, I'm going about it in a roundabout way, but you know, we are looking at it from a holistic perspective and trying as much or as best as we can to fit it in within how we interpret the Act, as well as the practice as always has been in the past, even in the previous legislation, as you well know more than anyone else here. That has always been the practice. It may have been silent, but we have always exercised what is perhaps an implicit authority with the Minister of Finance to make decisions that help with depending on the financial situation at hand.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I noted the points that you have raised on the issue of the head expenditure. I think that ought to be protected because that's what the law says, that it has to be protected in that way. And that the only actions that can be done in ensuring that funds are moved, you know, or resources are redistributed, reallocated, you know, within a head. I think those provisions are there. On the issue of financial exigency, and which normally, you know, sprung out because of the financial stress that we have gone through, fiscal management and all of that. You have mentioned one thing, and that is reservation, but I think reservation is quite different from you plugging out from an appropriated. Okay. You can reserve it for the time being, and when the situation improves, then it triggers again, like that. And that is purely a temporal fiscal management measures that would normally be applied. Whether or not the government is open to its help, you know, to do whatever that they can do to a fiscal instrument, we need to be very careful. We ought to be guided by the Constitution and also the Public Finance Management Act. Because it has the effect of basically paralyzing some sectors. And you can see that, we are actually crippling education. A huge amount of money there have been plugged out of education. Now, one wonders, what are we doing here? Education is supposed to be the top priority. You all know that in this field that you are part of, these are the first expenditure items that, will always be protected. Education, health, law and order, and so forth. It's quite different here. They've got a huge reduction. But you might have other reasons to do that. Possibly donors will be feeling that. If that is the case, then you go to reflect it in the supplementation, like that. Or it has to be reflected somewhere and somehow. And don't forget that, we have to, in whatever actions that we do, it has to have, at the background, that good governance, practices. So that's my comment on what you're saying, Attorney General, Accountant General. It still hasn't cleared the point that, we have raised, that you cannot vary from one head to the other and then come to Parliament and then just say that, look, we are doing it in this way. That's my comment on that. Other members, you want to make a comment? PS, you want to bounce back again?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, so I think that's, from how you look at it. The other, in terms of rational why movement has been taking place, or proposed movement has been taking place, is also upon consultation with the ministry through Ministry of Planning, in terms of the timing on implementations. And of course, where the priority spending need have to be committed before the end of this year. So that is one area of consideration, especially on the potential delay implementations, and in terms of where can that be accommodated in terms of going forward, especially for additional support for next year, for example. We are also looking at that option as well in terms of if those programs plan to be implemented next year, then of course there has to be some kind of additional support, either through the domestic or government budget or any additional donor support to cater for any gap on those specific activities. So those are some of the considerations that we also make here.
So can I ask you a question? When you decided to resort to this action, did you consult all those ministries that will have their heads, reduced?
Yeah. So in terms of development budget, Ministry of Planning, who manage the development budget, made the consultation and respond back to the Ministry of Finance in terms of what other heads that's going to be affected. Also, Ministry of Public Service on
but
other.
PS, you know that the PS of Planning is not the accounting officer for a different. He's only the accounting officer for planning, and his task is just basically to put up a plan for the country.
Yes.
So did you consult with other accounting officers? Because they are legally authorized by Parliament to be accounting officers. They are same as you.
Yeah, so we have this this BCC budget coordinating committee as prescribed under the PFM Act that also, coordinate the meeting and the
Section
consult.
52, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Because I'm going to come to that one. In a financial year, not later than 7 months, you should be producing the budget review report. And it's mandatory on your part and also the PS of planning to produce that. If you could have produced that, it would have been helpful for us to understand the way that you are shifting resources, consulting each other, consulting all other accounting officers, in resorting to such action as what we are doing right now. Would that be a fair comment to say?
Yeah, the report is coming. The media report.
8 months now.
Yeah. Finalize that. Yeah. Should be available this month. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. End of July. Yeah.
So let's come back to this.
Yeah.
Do you think that we should proceed as it is, variation lumped up in a supplementation or in a supplementary appropriation bill? We are now phrasing this as supplementary appropriation. Other heads are not, or no supplement here, or go down here. So what would we call them? Supplement and reduction bill or something or same? But it's not in the law.
Yeah, Chairman. Actually, with the new revenue, it of course increased the 2024 appropriation. The variation is just work within the existing appropriation. I think the point of discussion issues, yes, is just on the reallocation within the heads, yeah? Where, once the Parliament approves the supplementary, then that will be, the actual reallocation will take place. And then in terms of the appropriation, it's just within the existing.
Yes, I think you need to be very careful with the terminology because, you cannot reallocate. Only Parliament can allocate and appropriate and allocate. What we are asking you is that the variation that we have put in here would be, you can get the advice of the Attorney General and then help us on this. Because the variation that we thought that the PFMA allows is basically the environment within heads. We are now shifting resources from one head to the other. You are saying that, Minister of Finance find all available means, within his power to do that. Regions that, financial exigency is and stemming out from, this fiscal pressure that we have gone through. At the same time, we have to maintain financial management or fiscal management. But then the question is that lawful for us to do it in that way? I'm just waiting for a word to say that yes, it's lawful because the Attorney General has given you the yes to go ahead to do it in that way. Then maybe we'll have a break, and then I'll get the committee to decide on it, and then we'll start off again.
Yeah, Chair, I think, so the variation, I think this one is just ongoing. In the previous years, I think I didn't know much variation. So the supplementary, because we are rearranging, reallocating the expenditures from the other head. So the other one by reduce, the other one may increase. Why meant you cannot because within the ministry. But for this one, we come here so that Parliament more, you approve the original one, and then you do approve the new movements. The why meant ministers are doing the changes, and then by presenting come report come to Parliament. But for the supplementary, it's for the reallocation between the heads. That's why I meant that they're not allowed. So with the adjustment after the Parliament, you said Parliament no so Parliament by approval, then we'll just do the reallocation after.
Well, did you? I understand what now you are trying to drive at that, let's bring it to Parliament, but how could it come in the form of supplementary bill?
So in the supplementary, the format na CW car first, and one swearing, then the variation. So I mean, since we come to 2010,
That's the component that we are asking about. This is a variation na we are asking you. Because you vary, yeah?
yeah.
So, should it be called
So a
supplementary?
variation from the appropriation, not say. So what them approve, you worry.
So can I ask you, why now say no, it's a variation bill? Variation of appropriation bill.
Because it's increased not ahead that previously no increase.
Yeah, but there are two effects there, one reduce and the other increase.
So this one is done with the consultation, you say, because of the timing that minister think that they will not be able to implement. If you believe in, the minister will not be able to implement that for the money. So given that the situation that we have, I think that's we are protecting the fiscal a fiscal situation for work within what we have, and what you additional, and not in the other 16 in Ekita.
So supplementary means, you reduce him another one and then you increase him the other one. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's the definition. Yung definition of supplementary law.
But Lobelo Constitution, no, you find in that one. The supplementary, I'm always referred to the provision in the Constitution where you...
So supplementary is, I mean, I'm telling that in an access, if they are experiencing in an access that there's a need.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's what there's access, that's other areas in need. So, it
So
doesn't mean
the reduction that you're doing is an excess, isn't it?
of the demand other areas. Yeah.
The reduction that you're doing,
That
your
area,
interpretation, does that increase?
so that area is the area that I said like it will not be spent for the remainder of the year. So that's because of external, I mean, there's a need that land issue.
You tell us, have you consulted all these accounting officers so that there is no need for us to call them to come over and say, why are you affected?
So we have a BCC, budget coordinator, the central agencies not coordinated led by the budget team. With approval of cabinet to do this exercise, you said the pressure coming in, and we will say that okay, given that there is an additional revenue forecast for the year, we cannot approve any additional expenditure.
So you think that, if we call those accounting officers here, they will say, yes, we are well aware that these guys are pulling out some from us and then giving it to the others. Will that be the answer coming from them? So that there's no need for us to call them to come over. Why you lie to me? Lie to the committee?
So what we receive is, so we will ask CRM, like planning, consult with the development budget. Public service, we go and buy them, consult with payroll component. And then the budget unit is the other charges. Then we report come back to finance, and these are the savings that has been identified. So that's the process that we go through.
I'm quite surprised that, one of the very toughest rule inside law, Public Finance Management Act, you bar go against him here. Division 3, environment. You're going to surprise too much here.
I mean, we have been
What are we trying to do? Are we trying to hide him no more that we are going to come with additional funds? So we just basically move him around no more resources, redistributing the resources, coming back to Parliament and say, Parliament, approve them. We have just redistributed the resources. What will other ministries be saying? They have a lawful resource in the first place.
I mean, Chair,
By Parliament. So you just tell us, have you consulted them? In your own words, I just want you to tell the committee in an informal meeting, and then suppose no matter you're wrong or whatever, we'll forgive each other no more, then you may go out, come back again. Yeah. You just tell us, have you consulted them moving from, and that accounting officer is fully aware that those resources will be moved to other?
I
Have you been
trust,
consulted or not?
I trust that this is what we receive based on the process at Miguel Karimbat, they given by the ministry with through a consultation.
Members, what na about the thing?
No mind explanation. Explanatory notes are not given, so that people are all convinced.
Yeah.
So he say lawyer.
Ah,
He say something.
oh,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I think the fundamental issue or question, have not answered it here. Have not answered it. I think the explanation you have given, have good technical explanations, yeah? That environment him all same, variation all same, timing him all same, consultation him all same. But when all those are put together, are they put together in this document that satisfies the law? We have not the bottom line. Not to satisfy anyone but the requirements of the law. I think and not the bottom line. The second one is a question, Lord Chairman. He must be answered. Not the committee. He was asking, did you, meaning personal budget, consult with him, PS law health? PS, not any intermediary more. It's you and the PS. I think that's the question here. If that is not done, the answer is no. If it's done, the answer is yes. Or say no. So that is what the chairman is asking.
Thank you, member. Yes, you want to?
The answer is yes.
Thank you. So you have consulted all the accounting offices that have been affected?
That's true.
Thank you. The next question that I want to ask you is that have you asked the Attorney General that this is the right format of varying the Appropriation Act? Through a supplementary? Because I can understand those heads that have been supplemented. You're basically pulling out resources from there, then you supplement those heads. That's perfect. But what about the reductions? You've got to put that to Parliament and in the right format too. Because supplementary, Section 102 of the Constitution is very clear. We are not concerned about the contingency, we are not concerned about the legalization of the advance warrant. The additional supplement, which is the 16 million, that's fine. I think they can be featured in the supplementary. Together with those that have been gifted the additional increase through your so-called reallocation, what more? Redistribution, or something was in there. But what about those that have got a reduction? Should Parliament have a say? So how should it be featured in the form of a bill to Parliament? Supplementary? I don't think it will be captured in the way that supplementary are intended in 102 block Constitution, including any expenditure overrun that you have towards the end of last year, yeah, I don't think it should come in because you missed your chance to raise it in a supplementary. I think it should come in a form of just exercise to heads and then come to the committee, and then we will decide how it will be presented to. I think that's what section 1, subsection 4 of the 102 Constitution says. If you have any excesses, which we believe you do have, so we are putting you on notice on that too. I don't think it should come in supplementary. So on that, the makeup of this variation here, can we give you time to check with the Attorney General if that is the right format that we will use? It's through supplementary. Please come back to us. Would that be okay to you, PS? Or?
Yes, sir. Thank you, yes. Honorable Chairman. I suppose, yes, of course, if we will have to seek proper legal views on this in terms of the definition and the interpretation of what is meant by supplementary as in the Constitution to start with. As I had tried to explain earlier, our view and has always been supplementary at the head level would need the authority of Parliament. Now, I suppose the committee is talking about the offsetting part of it, whether we have the authority to do that in terms of holding back the allocations in some ministries for the sake of accommodating the additionals.
Sure.
My reading is there is no, I guess the Constitution and even the Act is silent on that. I suppose the definition, interpretation of supplementary would need to be properly explained by the legal experts. I'm not saying that, of course, we would like to broaden that definition or that interpretation to include supplementary as in anything that is in addition or changes the original appropriation.
Yes.
And I suppose that's why as in the past, as in the previous practice, and has been until now, the intent is to bring this to Parliament for Parliament to, as the only authority that can change any appropriation. For both supplementary as in additional, as well as in the offsetting aspect of it. Which we could have done by way of other means, as I mentioned earlier.
Sure.
That would not be proper for us, as you rightly pointed out, and I think you are more of an expert on this as us, on the reservations.
Yes.
It's really a suspension,
Yeah.
and is not, and should, intended to be temporal,
Sure.
subject to the situation as it unfolds towards the end of the year. So I guess I'll leave it at that, and I defer to PS on, and of course your directions on whether we seek AG's interpretation or Attorney General.
Just a comment on that.
Yeah.
Would you think that, if we put a permanent reservation on those reductions, would cure the problem?
Legally speaking,
Yes. So we put a permanent reservation on those heads that got reduction. So you reserve it by that percentage permanently until the end of the year.
I guess you'd be falling into your trap, as you said earlier. So I guess.
mean, that seems to be the case that is happening right now. Yeah. You are basically varying one head to the other. I cannot apply words like, reallocation, all of that, because that belongs to Parliament. Just coming to the point that the Accountant General is pressing us, the financial, exigency of some sectors, given the priorities that the government has decided on. One way that you could do is to basically reserve permanently those reductions, and there's no need for them to appear in this appropriation supplementary. And then you can have the others, to increase. But then you just basically appropriate within provided stock of appropriation, lawfully appropriated or not. I mean, that's one way to do it, to clean it. Otherwise, you've got to come up with a variation of appropriation heads bill, as what Accountant General is saying. We are basically appropriating the head. So can we leave that to you and then explore that with the Attorney General so that we can clean this up? Clean it up in the shortest time possible. We want to help you. We're not here as an obstacle. We want to help you to make sure that things are done properly.